Well, Siavash Ardalan is from the BBC Persian service, and I think you've got more up-to-date figures, have you?
Yes, the death toll has risen to 400. The injured are 6,000 so far. And the epicenter of the earthquake itself was the western city of Sarpol Zahab, which was the worst hit. 2/3 of the casualties, as far as we know so far, have come from that area. One of the first heart-wrenching videos that emerged after 9:20 p.m. local time when earthquake struck last night was from a hospital in Sarpol Zahab that collapsed and buried the hospital staff underneath. But there are other cities that are hit as well, many remote villages that is harder to get access to, but there seems to have been a division of labor between the armed forces. The regular army is looking at getting help to the bigger cities, and the Revolutionary Guards go to the more remote villages.
But getting to the remote areas, as we've been hearing, has been difficult, partly because of the mudslides as a result of the earthquake.
Yes, there's been a lot of mudslides. Some roads have been damaged, so they're trying to deploy helicopters to get there. But cutting through the bureaucracy and red tape to deploy all those resources itself sometimes becomes an issue.
Earthquakes are not unknown in this region, yet this one does seem to have caused a lot of damage, particularly to smaller housing. I'm just wondering what sort of regulations there are in terms of building, particularly for affordable housing in this area.
Yeah, you would think they would learn after all these earthquakes, given that Iran is so prone to earthquakes. The housing regulations, standards governing the engineering side of it, the oversight is very weak. So a lot of the government buildings themselves collapse. What's created an outcry now on social media is the fact that the residential units that were built as part of the affordable housing by the previous government, they were worse hit, and many of the casualties came from those particular units. But even the fact that the hospital that I mentioned collapsed, or other places that were meant to shelter people, that maybe might be a wake-up call.
Well, you mentioned sheltering of people. That's going to be a huge issue in the coming days, isn't it? Because thousands and thousands of people are now without homes.
The Iranian Red Crescent has said 70,000 people so far have been made homeless and need to get, we need to get aid to them as quickly as possible, distributing tents, restoring power to those areas. The government is promising that within the next 24 hours, power would be restored to most of the areas. But if you look at the social media now, you would see many users still anecdotally uploading videos, pleading for help, saying that we haven't seen any rescue help, we haven't seen any power being restored. So it's difficult to get a clear perspective when you don't have a presence there.
Given where this has happened, which is on the border between Iran and Iraq, what are the chances of one country helping the other if they can travel just a few miles to offer help?
Well, this has never happened. Usually the earthquakes inside Iran are very localized, but this one is unique in that it covers such a wide range of areas, and it went across the border. But Iran has borne the brunt of the earthquake. Most of the casualties are from Iran, and the infrastructure is there. The Iranian rescue workers have dealt with this before, so I don't think they'll be needing any help as such from Iraq.
And in terms of that infrastructure, power, water, these are obviously things they're going to have to sort out in the coming hours.
Absolutely. I think that they said that they've tried to distribute tens of thousands of bottles of water for the people, but water hasn't been restored yet, electricity, gas, but luckily the communications is all well. People can still upload videos, you can make calls. Many of these providers are providing free calls to those areas for people to stay in touch, so that's good.
Well, it's good you come down to talk to us about it. Siavash Ardalan from BBC Persian Service. Thank you.